Ladies and gentlemen, the following is another amazing episode of the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. In one corner, we have the greatest thing on God's green earth. No, we're not talking about money, Mary Jane, or Popeye spinach. He is the Tranquil Dart of Ringside Society and Delaware's greatest American hero. It takes two to make a thing go right. He's Rob Bass, and you are not. In the second corner, we have that ocean crossing, straight up Boston, flight catching, shot glass snatching, always on the go. Catch him if you can. Said his name in Guyana, now they love him in Japan. No cap, the worldwide star boy, Remy Blue. And our special guest tonight is a man who wears many hats. No, not just the one that he's wearing, not the one that's Rob wearing, not your uncle's hat, not your grandpa's hat. No. Not only is he a professional wrestler, but he is also a writer and director. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the recently Nightmare Factory Class 2 graduated, the family man, Aaron Kirk.
Woo! Thank you. That was a very nice introduction. I really appreciate it.
I try, man. I mean, I know I'm not the best, but
Hey, man,
a little bit of improv here, a little bit of Howard Finkel there, and some Road Dogg, Jesse James. Yeah, I try. But hey, Aaron, I gotta say, thank you very much for being on the show. We really and truly do appreciate it. And before I go any further, man, that was an impressive win that you and Aaron Dallas had. I was like, they actually pulled it off.
Yeah, it was. It was. I felt it for a while, but it was very nice to go out on national, what essentially is national television. I mean, it's over 150,000 views at this point, and that's more people have seen me wrestle than I would have ever imagined. 13, 14, 15 years ago, and to get the win, that was awesome too. And get to use it. One of my favorite wrestlers' finishers. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, I remembered when you guys hit that. I was like, hit that on the Diamond Sheik. I was like, oh snap! The power of family won that match.
Yeah. Well, Brett was one of my favorite wrestlers growing up, if not my favorite wrestler, and I flat out take a lot of things from him because he's one of the best. So why wouldn't you, right?
Yeah. Bret Hart was definitely he was definitely one of the best. He pretty much ran the 90s. Was one of the guys that ran the 90s, and because of him, I have a love for leather jackets. Like the guy knew how to wear a leather jacket.
If I looked good in one, I'd wear one. I've tried it, and it just doesn't. That's just not. Give me a hoodie. That's what fits my form.
Yeah. So you guys had like a but. Well, look in hindsight. Whenever I look, because I look at that match again before, and you guys had your tag team with Aaron Dallas had the perfect mixture. You guys had the youth and strength on his side because he's a bodybuilder and everything.
Oh yeah.
And they had the experience on yours. So I was like, wow, these guys are a great combination.
It was when we figured out what we were going to be doing, that we were going to be working together, and we'd had a lot of chemistry through training. We were part of a little group, 626, that we was me and Lobo and Aaron as well. And we kind of our own little group within the training school. So we had a lot of chemistry. We got to work together before, and felt like it was a really good match. It wasn't perfect by any means, but for me to have my first match back in 13 years, and for him to be his first match, it's pretty awesome. I think, I'm pretty happy with it.
So this wasn't your first rodeo. You were doing this like since back, like, let's see, 13 years. So like the late 2000s.
Yeah, I think my son was 4 years old when I started training first. So that was 2006. So actually, like more like 15 years at this point. But 2006. I started. I'm from Rome, Georgia, originally, where I was announced from, and they had a local school up there, and it wasn't the at the level of training I got at Nightmare Factory. I learned how to take my bumps, and I got my chops, and I spent a lot of time working, but I didn't get the level of attention that we got in the level of professionalism that you see in like the Nightmare Factory. So, yeah. Sorry, I just kind of rambled there.
Yeah, I was like, I keep telling a lot of your fellow campmates, I was thoroughly impressed with the student showcase too. And you're probably gonna say, man, Remy, you're just saying that because I'm in front of you. But no, this is my genuine feeling about the student showcase too. I enjoyed that more than most of WrestleMania Backlash. I kid you not.
Well, that's very nice. I appreciate I mean, we worked our asses off. There were some kids there that had a little bit of training, but not much. And there were a lot of people in that class who had never been inside a ring. So, that first day, take that first bump. If they kept going after that, that really showed a lot, because until you've gotten into a ring and taken a bump and realized it is not fun, it does not feel good. That pad, it's not that thick. You're landing on 2x12s or 2x10s.
Yeah, 2x10.
Yeah, it's not a fun thing, and they worked their asses off. Worked through some of them through injuries, some of them through a lot of pain. We had the kid that several kids there that either had knee injuries or shoulder injuries, and they made it all the way through and then just put on a hell of a match. Some of that stuff was really engaging. And we've already seen results, by seeing people like Dylan and Julia on AEW Dark or Dynamite even. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I was very happy for Julia. Hopefully we can get her on this show, but I don't know if that's going to be possible. But I was very glad when I saw Julia on there, especially in that main event with the Young Bucks. I was like, what?
Yeah.
But I like that dynamic of her being a cheerleader, and you got Brian Pillman and don't tell me. Garris, is it Garrison's last? No, Rob, help me out here, man. I'm
Which
sorry.
one?
Griff Garrison, right? That's his name, right?
Griff Garrison. Oh, yeah.
I was just waiting. I was, please God, it's a perfect pairing. Like when I saw the picture of it, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. I mean, why wouldn't you? And she's very talented. All the women in our camp were amazing, but she seemed to be like at a next level almost from the beginning. So
yeah, I was very happy. I was also very happy for Dylan, because I remember I'm a huge, not huge, but like I've watched OVW on and off for the better part of a decade, and I remember during one of my on periods when I'd watch it like frequently, I saw Dylan McQueen as a valet in OVW. So I'm like, when I saw him in like Nightmare Factory, I'm like, oh snap, I gotta see what this guy can do in the ring. And when I saw that match with him and Dean Alexander, I was like, wow, Dylan done evolved, man. Dylan's gonna go like
Dylan. We all knew like halfway through camp that Dylan was the standout. You know what I mean? Like he just has it. He has tons of charisma. He's really good in the ring. There's a puppy walking around behind me. He had a great attitude. He was one of the leaders in the camp. Somebody who would push everybody all the way through. Sent me some great messages. I responded in kind, but was a really good dude, and I'm beyond happy to see him beginning to get to an upper level, because he deserves it. Even just for a couple of years in the business, he's putting in the work, and it shows.
Yeah, I was very happy for him as well. But I gotta ask you. I always ask every wrestler this question. We're gonna take a trip back in time.
Okay.
And I gotta ask, what was the pay-per-view wrestling event or wrestling match that made you become a fan of professional wrestling?
I remember a lot of wrestling before I became a fan. Like I didn't know where I grew up in Georgia, we didn't have cable until I was 14 years old. So I never saw a lot of things if they weren't on Saturday Night's Main Event or on TBS, because those channels were free and we didn't have cable. So I saw a lot of wrestling, but I didn't know what it was that I really liked about it until the Royal Rumble 1995. And this is going to sound weird because by that point I was years into my fandom. The thing that made me want to really, really dig into it was watching Shawn Michaels win, because it was a story. That story that told through the match of him just, he got his ass kicked all the way around the match, made everybody look great, and he still came out on top. And that made me start going back and watching more and more and more. By that point, like I said, I'd seen plenty, but that was the point where I was kind of hooked. Like, it was my thing.
Wow. Yeah, Shawn Michaels, man, is one of my favorite tag teams, the Rockers. One of my first favorite tag teams, the Rockers. And those guys, to me, they knew how to work that ring. And I'm convinced that, well, not convinced, but if I had to give, I'm in no way to give anybody advice. But if somebody that were just getting into business were to come and ask Remy, what me and my boy, we're forming this tag team, what tag team should we look at? Just to get an idea, a good idea, I would definitely recommend the Rockers as well. Those guys knew how to work that ring. They knew how to do those combinations and whatnot. Man, I tell you.
When when they came out, they were young and dynamic, and not full of injuries and the things that happened later in the careers. Although Shawn, when he came back from injury, he was better than he ever was to begin with. So I guess what I know what I'm talking about. But tag team wrestling is amazing and fun, and more people should do it, but it's really hard to do. The Rockers were great. Obviously I'm a big fan of the Hart Foundation and Midnight Express and, Tully and Arn, things like that. Those are all teams that have psychology on their side. And that's probably my favorite part of wrestling is the moves are great. But I'm also a 43-year-old dude who's not going to be doing a 450. It's just never going to happen. I don't even like going to the top rope. I very much rather kick somebody in the face than try to land on them and break my arm, because that's what would happen. But the psychology part of why you're doing what you're doing, not just doing stuff, that's what interests me about wrestling.
Yeah. But I always say you don't have. I mean, you don't. Everybody doesn't have to do a 450. I mean,
there's room.
Kurt Angle, to my knowledge, never really did a 450.
Right.
Ricky the Dragon Steamboat never did a 450.
No, that splash was enough, man. That splash was huge.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't compare time periods. The 80s was the 80s, and the 90s was the 90s, and the 2000s were the 2000s.
That's true.
Each part had great things. The work rate stuff is great now that you see you got guys putting out all these moves. And I'm not diminishing it by any means. If I could do, a double rotation moonsault, I totally would. I just know I'd break my neck, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah. So now that you're a fan and you're cheering your favorites and you're booing the bad guys, did you ever get to go to any wrestling events, or did you ever get to meet Shawn Michaels or anybody that you grew up watching?
No, I didn't really meet any of my heroes in wrestling until I got into the training camp. I never went to any wrestling events. Where I lived in Rome, there was the occasional odd indie show. And back in the 80s, NWA used to come through Barron Stadium, which is an area, and they would do events probably once a month or something like that. But it's the same hometown that Arn Anderson's from, is where I'm from. So they would come through there occasionally. But I never got to go any. My first wrestling event that I can remember, I think, was WrestleMania 27.
Arn Anderson, man, I tell you, that man had a great ring psychology. I remember one time, I'll never forget what he did to Alex Wright. He ended Alex Wright's undefeated streak. And it wasn't by anything extravagant. He pretty much pulled his hand back. Alex Wright ducked, and he put him in the DDT, and that was it for Alex Wright.
Oh, yeah.
Undefeated streak over.
Arn was amazing and still is amazing in his role today. Dude knows everything there is to know and has done everything there is to do. And I mean, if Brett is here, Arn is right there. Like they're very close in my personal wrestling heroes.
Yeah, definitely a great guy on the mic. I'm surprised. What got me was I'm surprised he never held the world title. But I mean, I get that's from what I learned. That's wrestling. So
Yeah,
there's people that are good. Like look at Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper never held the NWA world title or the WWE world title or WCW title, and that guy was one of the best on the mic. To me, he was like Ric Flair, but in street clothes.
Yeah,
that's what I see when I see Roddy Piper.
I could see that. Yeah. There's only so many people that can be champion if you want the belt to mean something, So it's why it's so selective, and church should be so selective in every federation and every company. You can't just have the belt going boom, 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 and have it mean anything. Having those reigns, having those defenses actually matter, helps make it mean something. Because otherwise, it's just a prop. And I don't want sorry, my hat's bugging me. I don't want the belt to be a prop. I want it to mean something. The reason, like when I watched WrestleMania 12 and Shawn wins and he's holding that belt and he's crying and it means so much is because the belt had oomph to it. It had history, it had meaning. And that's why you felt that emotion. It wasn't just him. It was because what belt stood for. So, sorry, I ramble a lot. My bad.
No, you're good.
Hey, this is your Aaron. This is your hour. This is not even hour. I mean, it's however, but this is your spotlight, man.
I appreciate it.
It's all about you, man. We're just the ones providing the spotlight for you to tell your story, and we're just listening. So,
thank
by
you.
all means, ramble away.
And
then, yeah. Fun fact: we actually had you're not gonna believe this. We had a 3-hour podcast interview one time with Soraya Knight, Paige's mom.
Oh wow!
Yeah, but it was hilarious. I call that the Attitude Era episode of our of our brand.
If you have virgin ears, don't listen to that episode.
Oh, trust me, my friends and I have a saying. We want to know people who know the $5 words but prefer to say the F-bomb because
that's right.
We curse a lot. So it's I work in business that makes me learn how to hold my words.
That's right. But I try to do that on here. I'm country, and I was raised, every other word. After this, like first 5 years of my life, I thought my name was Damn It because my dad would be like, "Damn it, get over here! Damn it, stop doing that! Damn it, hand me the remote." So I got to kindergarten. I'm like, who's Rob Bass? My name, Damn It.
I grew up. My father was a pastor and a preacher, or a pastor and a police officer.
Oh,
so
nice.
I never got to curse at all because I never got to do anything because I was either going to jail or I was going to hell. One of the other.
Lord,
so, man.
Yeah. It's you get away with stuff apparently when you're one or the other, but you get both and you're just
There you go.
So 2006, you decided to make the I don't know if it was 2006 you started training, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So
go ahead.
I was going to ask, how did your journey go from being a fan to now to training to become a professional wrestler to becoming a professional wrestler?
Okay. Well, it started with doing something I can honestly say I hope no one else ever does. And it was flat out lying to a promoter that me and two of my friends were trained wrestlers from somewhere else. I forget where. I mean, this was so long ago. Absolutely lied to the man's face so that we could get a match. Went out there and made fools of ourselves. We tried. We actually had rehearsed the match and stuff, but obviously we didn't know how to take a bump. We all got really hurt in that match. It was very dumb. And the guy kind of, one of the guys in the back, said, "I don't know what outlaw people trained you guys, but you guys need some actual training before you get into a ring again." And he was right because we had zero. Ended up going to the school. It was me and like three other people. A guy I worked with who was an amateur wrestler from high school. I turned him on to wrestling by actually watching a Brett versus Owen match from WrestleMania 10. when he saw that, oh, you can actually incorporate real wrestling into professional wrestling. He's like, yeah, it's amazing when you do it like that. And you start training wrestling and stuff. It's great. So he came in. We were tagged. We started off as tag partners, but we trained for I think a month. That right there is the beginning of like, whoa, what? A month, 2 months, I think at most, and then they basically just threw us in the ring. The very first match I ever had, I got knocked the F out. I got kicked in the back of the head by a guy who was a lot younger than me, because I was at that point, in my early 20s, and like an 18-year-old kid came behind me, kicked me in the head. I just flat got knocked out. It was not great. But I stuck with it for a while until it got to the point where I unfortunately would have had to choose between family or wrestling, and family wins every time.
Yeah.
There's a reason why I call myself family, and it's because family is more important than anything. If I had to step away from everything tomorrow for my family, that's what I do. So after a few years, like, I kind of stopped and work a regular job and do the 9 to 5 and feed and take care of the family. And a couple years ago, a friend of mine named Roderick, we met in the film industry. He was my wrestling friend. He was the only person I really knew who I could talk to about wrestling as geekily as I felt it, because we would both just flip out on stuff, sharing memes and videos and watching wrestling shows together. And we saw the stuff about the Nightmare Factory. And he was just like, you should do this, because he knew about my background. I said, I'm 42 years old. There's no way I'm going to be able to do this. And he just pushed me and pushed me and pushed me. And eventually, he's also texting me right now. I'm sure he's listening. Sorry. He pushed me in the best way, not in a really shitty way, but just like, dude, this is the time. You're in the middle of a pandemic. What the F else are you going to be doing? Why not give it a shot? Now you've got the time. Because for years there just wasn't enough time, and that was what prevented me from getting back. So I just did it. And fortunately, another friend of mine from the film industry had just gone through it, a guy named Brian Hill, the Revenant, from the First Class. I'd met him. We weren't like super close friends or anything, but I'd met him a few times years before in Rome when I was a chef. I messaged him, was like, hey, do you think it's possible? Next thing you know, QT's sending me a text. They're like, hey, you're accepted. Here's this, here's that. You got the, and my mind was just blown, because number one, QT had just texted me. Holy freaking crap. But yeah, I mean, it went really fast. Like from there. So I didn't find out till like December 27th. It was like when my first, was when it was confirmed that I was going to be in the class, because I was
nice.
I was basically a replacement for somebody who couldn't do it. Yeah.
Oh, Remy, you're on mute.
Your mic. You muted.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Yeah. So you've trained. So pretty much you've trained at 2 different schools. You've trained at the one from back in 2006.
Right.
And the one and of course, the Nightmare Factory, which, in my opinion, and I guess I'm not just saying this, whenever I give compliments, it's actually genuine. But it's, you trained at the other school, and then you trained at Nightmare Factory, which in my opinion is one of the most prestigious schools, on this side of the planet.
You're not getting an argument with me.
Yeah. With what was the difference between the two? Was there any difference?
Oh,
at all?
Oh, a million difference. I mean, where I went first would be, I'll put it this way, it was more of a wrestling school. It wasn't a training school. It was, my first night ended with my shirt over my chest and getting chopped, just to make sure that I knew what wrestling was real. Even if it wasn't real, it was real. And obviously a thing that meant to discourage people from actually doing something. But
was one of your coaches Dr. David Schultz in that first camp?
no. God, I can't even. You know what's sad is I worked in this one particular Fed, IXW, Indie Extreme Wrestling. And one of the trainers was one of the guys there. His name was Bruce Wayne. That was his character name. I never learned his real name. Like in 2 years, everybody just called him Bruce, and then nobody ever smarted me up. So, like to this day, I say I'm trained by Bruce Wayne, and it does not. It does not make me sound like a smart man. Another guy his name was Buzz. It was Buzzsaw. It wasn't Buzz Sawyer, but it was a part of a family of guys who wrestled together. Like one of them, I want to say was in Ringgold or something like that, and the other one was in Rome. So, no, sadly, nobody cool trained me in the first one, and it was in an auto garage that had been converted into a little mini arena. In a place that probably I think the max fans we ever had was like 250 for a charity show. So it was not like some big thing. We averaged like maybe 50 people if we were having a good night. So nobody good, sadly.
Oh, cool. So you gave it another shot. You came back. You decided to give wrestling another shot.
Mm-hmm.
Went to the Nightmare Factory. Did the 12 weeks of training. Then at the end of the 12 weeks, your coaches, Cody Rhodes, T. Marshall, Glacier. I'm not going to say his real name because I know better.
Yeah, dude, he's the best. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but if you ever get a chance to interview him or talk to him, just Glacier is the absolute best. Like, dude pushed me really hard in that camp, and I cannot thank him enough.
When I look back at Glacier, I'm gonna die on this hill with what I'm gonna say, but I always say Glacier had a great thing going on with WWE back in the 90s. Yeah. He had a great character, and I like to think I don't think I'll ever be a wrestler. I mean, I'm 38 years old. Maybe I could, maybe I can't. But one thing I always
I did it, dude. Why can't you?
One thing I always tell myself, I got a good thing. I could be a hell of a creative writer. And there's certain wrestlers, I've been watching wrestling for 31 years now. And there's certain people I look at and I'm like, they had to lift somebody to get behind a little more and put a little more oomph in their storylines and character. They could go to the top.
Yeah.
And Glacier was one of those people I look at and I was like, if I was writing for that guy, man, he would have been a world title competitor. If I was writing, I know it for a fact.
He is. I grew up. Obviously, I watched everything in the '90s, and he is as good a guy behind the scenes as you would think. His work ethic is just ridiculous. The things he describes about that he had to do when he was going through the power plant. Like, we did some stuff, some of the training that they did, and I just, after like 3 or 4 rounds where he's telling us, he went 15, and there are people around who can confirm it, and you're just like, oh, crap, the physicality, the ability to do some of the stuff. The drills they gave us in camp were, oh my God, to a guy who up until training began was smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. I thought I was going to die, but again, worth it. But a lot of that was pushed by Glacier. He really was part of it. That's why the little sweep kick, like I did right at the beginning of the match when that Steel comes off the ropes and hits him, and I do a little sweep kick to his leg. I specifically went to Glacier and was like, "Do you mind if you do that?" I know it's just a sweep kick, but I tried to do it just like he did it because that was my one little thing I could do in the match.
Cool. Yeah. So you actually you completed 12 weeks, and then your coach just said, "Okay, congratulations, you are the graduating class of you are the second graduating class of the Nightmare Factory, and now you have the student showcase to show them what you got," as Jay-Z said when he first came back. And you step into that ring, you have your tag partner, you're facing the Diamond Sheik and the bodyguard Austin Green. What was going through your mind? Were you like, did you have were there butterflies, or were you like, you know what, I did this 15 years ago, I got it, or was it like a neutral feeling, like a combination of the two?
I'm be honest with you, I really wasn't as nervous as I thought I was going to be. One of the things I've done over the last few years is a lot of stuff in front of the camera, so I didn't feel nervous about that. I think if it had been live, like live streaming on YouTube, I probably would have been a little bit more nervous because I felt more comfortable with the 50 people or so that were there. Most of those people were wrestlers of one sort or another, so I felt fairly comfortable with that. But yeah, I really didn't feel nervous. I was anxious because I just wanted to do it right. It had been so long since I had been in a ring in front of a crowd and of any size. And I just didn't want to go out there and fall on my face. I felt prepared because of the fact that they put us through all that they did. Our last week or two was just match after match after match after match after match. Everyone getting constructive criticism and compliments when you do something great, and you could do this better though. You could do this. Why are you doing this after you do that? That doesn't make sense. So I felt confident going into the ring. Getting to work against Sheik and my brain, just the bodyguard. Sorry, Austin. I was happy to go in against him because Sheik had been another dude who has just been awesome in training. It's the Sheik, so can only do so much with him. But because he's such a jerk. It's all about money. But in all reality, he was great to train with and worked hard. And Austin is a machine. And I hope I never get another powerbomb like that again in my life, because that was friggin' awful. It was, whew, man, he just came out of nowhere, didn't he? So, but getting to work against them was great because they were good opponents. It felt like they worked in theme against us because, me and Aaron Dallas were both dudes who don't come from money, who were working our asses off before we got into wrestling, and it was a good foils for us.
Yeah, when I saw Austin Green, so I guess apparently he does bounce. He used to be a bouncer. Yeah. And I saw him show on his Instagram the way he bounces people. And I'm like, if I'm ever in the club with this guy, I'm like, look, man, I'm just gonna be like Jazz from Fresh Prince and throw myself out, man.
That is your best choice, because that man is a beast, and he was deuced up like when you're getting a suplex by him, you're not putting any effort into it because you're flying across that freaking ring, and that's all there is to it. You just better be prepared for the landing. Same thing for when he gets you in the corner and shoulder blocks you. Oh boy, that's so much fun. Yeah, we all saw. He had a halfway through camp, he had an MMA fight that he won, and you watch that fight, and then you go, oh, that's great. I got to wrestle him. This is going to go good. And the powerbomb kind of proved that it went great.
Wow. So now that the Secret Showcase 2 is over with, you got the win. What's next for the family man, Aaron Kirk?
I am just trying to work. I had to go back to a real job for a little bit, not that wrestling isn't a real job. It's a very real job. But I had to go to a job that I could work out for a regular day for a little bit. So I haven't been able to get into my bookings thing that I wanted. But now I'm kind of coming to the end of my show that I'm working on, and it's time to get back and really push force. I would love to at some point, everybody would love to go to AEW or whatever. Right now, my goals are smaller. I want to be in GCW, and I want to be in New South and a few other particular promotions that I would love to go to. New South in particular, I think, is putting on a lot of really, really good shows. GCW has some amazing shows, and you never know who could show up there. There's a couple of other smaller indie promotions that I'd like to go to as well. Just kind of start working on, I only have so many years left in this body. I knew that when I got into this. I'm 43. The fortunate thing is I don't have a lot of the wear and tear that wrestlers my age generally have on their body. I've never broken a bone. I've never had any ACL tears or MCLs or, rotator cuff tears or anything like that. So as old as I am, I'm in pretty good shape. I could still stand as by watching the Nightmare Factory, I've still got a few popsicles I got to stop eating. But overall, I can say that I was in the best shape of my life at that point, and I'm pretty close to it right now.
So in a way, I guess you could say that 15-year break that you took was a blessing, because if you look at it, 15 years, if you had wrestled during those 15 years, you probably would have you most likely would have had some wear and tear there, but you come back, you're fresh, you're renewed, ready for another round. So it's gonna be, in my opinion, it's gonna be very interesting to see what you have to offer and what you still got.
My hope is to bring a lot of story into what I do. I like to do things for a reason. I think I'm a pretty good promo. I don't know if you look at my Twitter, you can see some of the older promos from training camp that I put up there. And I'm probably, now that I'm in my last week at work and I got time, I plan on putting up 1 to 2 promos a week on my Twitter. Twitter's my main spot. I go on Facebook occasionally. I'm terrible about going on Instagram or anything else, really. I'm really bad at it. I am bad at social media, and I know it. But I'll be doing stuff like that. So if somebody's booking me, they're going to get a lot of story, and I'm going to hook the audience. That's my goal, is make the audience want to come back for next week to see what happens next.
Cool. So my next question. So I just got one more question before I pass on to Rob. I know Rob has a lot to ask you as well, especially about your writing and directing. Okay. But in terms of so several years ago, one of your trainers, Cody Rhodes, when he left WWE, he posted on social media a list of wrestlers he wanted to face in the coming years, and subsequently other wrestlers started doing the same thing as well. So my last question before I turn it over to Rob Bass: who are the top 5 people on the Family Man, Aaron Kirk's list?
Okay, Joey Janela, because you never know what could happen in a match like that with him. Is it 2 people if I say FTR? Because FTR totally is. Yeah. I would know they would kill me in a tag match, because Dax is insane and could be, if he wanted to be, could be a solo star all day, every day. Not that Cash couldn't either, but those 2 just together as a team. God, I'd love to have them beat the shit out of me. Let's see. Drew McIntyre would be an amazing match. Dude's amazing. Let's see. Cody. I mean, why not? Because Cody would tell a story like nobody else. That's what he does in a ring, is he tells stories. That's 4, right? So let's see. The last one. Somebody who I do think I will have a match with at some point, and that's Dylan. Because Dylan is that good. I know it sounds like I'm just trying to put over somebody from my class, but I truly believe like a story could be told there that would kick some major ass.
Awesome. Well, I definitely hope you get a chance to wrestle all 3.
Eddie Kingston too. I'm sorry.
Wait, Martin?
Sorry, I had to throw Eddie Kingston in there too. I was not. Okay. I never watched TNA. I had no idea who Eddie was when he came out back to challenge Cody. And Roderick will tell you if you ever get to talk to him, because he's a super fan who should be talked to, because he loves wrestling just about more than anybody I know. But he turned me on to Eddie, and Eddie is the absolute my favorite promo in the world right now. That dude's amazing. Everything seems real. Okay, I won't cut you out. Sorry.
Yeah, Cody Rhodes. Funny thing about Cody Rhodes is that I've always, from the time, there's certain people you could look at when they first when they first appear on the scene, and you're like, that person has it. That person's gonna go far. Cody Rhodes was one of them. Granted, he had a rocky start. You know, first match he had to face Randy Orton, and then Hardcore Holly came and tried to, you know, make a man out of him, and he showed Hardcore Holly that he could hang. Yeah. But I always knew that Cody was gonna be that guy. There was no denying him. There was no stopping him. And I'm glad that he's actually gotten to where, you know, he is right now. And I definitely wish. I remember I had a friend that saw Cody Rhodes for the first time, and he was like, "Cody Rhodes sucks." I'm like, "Bro, he just started wrestling. You can't judge him early in his career." He's like, "Cody." I'm like, "All right, watch and see." And then the next time when Cody Rhodes actually won the tag team titles, he's like, "Cody Rhodes, what?" He's like, "Sucks." I'm like, "Oh, you don't learn. All right, watch again." He wins the NWA title. I'm like, "Cody Rhodes, what?" Oh, no answer? Okay, all right, good. Okay, yeah, all right. Yeah, so, yeah. But I'm very glad for Cody, though. He's definitely shown himself, and, you know, the guy was made for it. You know, definitely has a great mind and everything, and, yeah.
Yeah, he's one of the best storytellers in wrestling right now, period.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Rob. I know he has a couple of questions. So, right. Rob, go ahead, man. Floor's yours.
All right, sweet. Thanks, Remy. So what's going on, Aaron, man? How you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I'm just trying to make it through another day.
That's right. Man, how's the weather down your way, man? You down in Georgia, man? Is it hot down there?
It is as it normally is at this time. It is starting to hit the 90s now, so it's the worst part of the year for the next 3 months.
Oh yeah, because today was it was brutal here, man. And, I'm up in Delaware, and we get that humidity and stuff, man. It was brutal today. Past couple of days, look, I put my window AC in this room right here that we're in, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna cool it off, you know. I turned it on, kept popping the thing, man, test it. I'm like, oh, it's broken. I gotta get a new one. Well, it's just at least just for one room, you know. So I'm good. You know what I mean? Right. I'm good to go though. So. Yeah, man. So you were saying, man, when you were talking earlier, man, you were talking about where you lived and stuff. You didn't get cable till you were like 14 years old, man. Look, I feel your pain because where I lived, it was the same way, man. I was born in 82, and we didn't get cable my way. It wasn't available till 92, 91, 92, 93. You know what I mean? And even then, we got 21 channels or 31 channels. And I was like, yo, this is the greatest thing ever. You know what I mean? Like, yo, what? Yeah, because back then, I don't know, some people watching this, you know, you might not know, but we had to do something called UHF and VHF. You know what I mean? Mess with these rabbit ears, you know what I mean? Put the channel, and you go down to you know, oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, so, I got to see a lot of the free stuff, too, man. It was like NWA, WCW stuff, and whatever was on Saturday, you know what I mean? That's what I got to watch.
Saturday night's main event, man.
Yeah, and then finally we got cable. USA Network. I was like, I can finally watch Raw and all this stuff. I was like, yeah, that's right.
I got it just in time before Raw started coming out. I remember probably when I was like 4, like I said, probably about when I was 14, and I would start seeing the Saturday morning shows hosted by Todd Pettengill.
Ooh, okay.
That's what hooked me, I think, as like regular, because I watched it every Saturday morning.
Oh yeah, because like the cable thing, people did have those channels and all, but you had to get a satellite dish, and it wasn't a satellite dish like it is now, where you just stick it up at your house or whatever. No, this was a big NASA dish.
Big one.
Yeah, it was a NASA dish. You stuck out in your front yard. My pop was like, I ain't having that out there. You know what I mean? You must be crazy. You know what I mean? I'm good. We're good. It's like, all right. So, man, you were saying, like, yeah, Shawn Michaels, man, he was your favorite. Did you get to see the A&E biography the other day about him? With him?
I have not seen it yet. No, my work schedule right now with film is 60 plus hours a week. And I don't get much time for anything. And on the weekend, I sit on my butt and maybe play a game, watch a lot of YouTube, and do my workouts and all that sort of stuff. But try to do as little physical activity as I can just get away with, because my brain, or my body rather, both really, don't want to work after working 60, 70 hours a week. But I'll get to it.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Man. I don't blame you. Yeah, because I was also going to ask if you've seen any of the Dark Side of the Rings too. Like they had the Brian Pillman stuff on, but yeah,
I've seen several of those. Those are great.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're so good. You know what I mean? What was the recent one? It was something in Korea.
The where WCW went to Korea.
Yeah. See, Yeah, because I'm trying to remember. I was like, I really don't remember if I can, when I was watching at the time, if
Solution
I
in
remember it
Korea.
happening. Yeah, I couldn't remember. Like, I'm trying to think. I'm like, I couldn't remember it happening at the time. You know what I mean? I'm like, wow. You know what I mean? So I really didn't know much about it.
I don't recall it being, hyped very much in the U.S. Obviously, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't for us.
Yeah. But what I did get, I got to see Scott Norton on there, man. He was one of my all-time favorites when I was a kid. Man,
Great
he used to come out. I was frightened of him. I was like, man, that man would go out there and just destroy people. Oh, yeah, he was dominant in Japan. I don't know how they didn't do that in WCW. They just stuck him in the NWO as another guy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
like,
there was a group of guys I think that were in Japan from like the mid '80s to the early part of the '90s that were all just dominating monsters.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, a lot of that success did not translate back in the States, and it should have because they were really talented.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine, Norton versus Hogan at the time?
Oh,
he could have been, just been an amazing opponent and been a legit contender easily.
yeah.
Kind of got saddled with that. Just,
yeah.
I get really red and beat the crap out of people.
That's right. Yeah, because Norton, man, he's a legit threat, like against Hogan or something. If you think about it, man, he's strong, man. He go out there and throw anybody around, man. Don't matter about Hogan. I just pick him up, toss him around. You know what I mean? Him and his hot dog skin and bald head. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. So I do gotta ask, man. When you're home and stuff, after work and stuff, do you have any TV shows, new movies that you've been catching up on? Because I'm always trying to find something new, man. I always get stuck in the same thing.
I get really obsessive on shows, and I try to find things that happen long. I don't want to. If it doesn't have 5 seasons or more, I'm probably not going to watch it because I just want to be entertained for a while.
I'm the same way.
And I have actually just recently got addicted to Critical Role on YouTube. It's a bunch of nerdy voice actors playing Dungeons and Dragons, and they've done like 270 something episodes of it, with well over 1.5 million followers on their Twitch channel. They are huge, and I've gotten addicted to it. I literally have been watching that just about nonstop because each episode's like 3.5, 4 hours long.
Oh, wow.
Sadly, yeah, that's about it. My wife would be very I just finished watching Invincible on Amazon. Highly recommend that. It's
the one with the New Kids on the Block where he joined the Eagles and tore it up. That one? Or was that Marky Mark? That was Marky.
Yeah,
Mark
this is an animated show that's on.
Oh, okay.
It's based off of a Robert Kirkman comic book, the same guy who created The Walking Dead.
Yeah. Okay.
But this is an animated one, and it's not for kids at all. It is an amazing show.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about now. Is it the one where like the dad or something comes back at the end and they do the thing with the subway and it's all one shot and somebody gets little. It might be. Maybe I'm thinking of a different cartoon.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, but that's the only show that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, man. On YouTube, there's a show I like that they play games on. Will Wheaton Tabletop. I don't know if you ever seen that.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love. Man, I've gotten a few board games and played with my friends and all that family and all from that show.
I think Critical Role is used to be a part of Geek and Sundry. Which
okay.
What I think Will Wheaton's channel is on. Wheaton's show's on. It was part of Geek and Sundry for like the first 200 episodes. So if you like tabletop, then you'll enjoy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm definitely going to check that out. Because like one to Betrayal, A House on the Haunted Hill or whatever. I got that game when they seen them play it. And every time I played it with my friends, it's a different outcome every time. You know what I mean? Somebody different is the hero. Someone else is trying to kill the other people or possess them or do whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, that game is so great, man. It's wild. Now, I also got to ask, man, I was doing a little research and stuff. I seen, like, you sitting there with some guitars, man. Do you jam on the guitar a lot, man?
Not a lot. I know mostly power chords. I have an acoustic guitar that is wildly out of tune. I was mainly a drummer.
Okay.
I played drums since I was 12 years old, I think. Used to be in a terrible, terrible rock band. My life's been all over the place. I've done a little bit of everything. So I do try. I just fail spectacularly.
Hey,
the word.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. My buddy, he plays guitar all the time, and I couldn't play. Yeah, my fingers or something, man. I'm like, yeah, I can't do it. You know, I can play a couple chords of Enter Sandman and Nothing Else Matters from Metallica.
I can't get even that close. I'm a drummer because I'm good. I like to hit things.
Mm-hmm.
So drums, wrestling, it kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I get to smash things. That's good.
That's right. Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that. Now, like you were also saying, man, you're during your week, man, you're like writer, director, and all that stuff, man. How did you get into that, man? And like, how awesome is that? Because I got to feel one time do a little independent movie. I got to be a zombie, and I got a death scene and all that, man. It's pretty cool, man. Like, so man, what's that like, man? Being a director, writer, all that.
I work locations for film most of the time. I have written and directed my own stuff. I've done about six short films, a couple of product commercials, and like a music video. So I've done a little bit of directing. I've written about 3 or 4 feature scripts. Haven't produced any of them yet. I've only done the shorts. My 9 to 5 is working locations, which is the person who's going to find the house that you want to shoot in. That's me. Mm-hmm. The person who's going to get you the permit. That's me. The person who's going to figure out where you're going to park all the crew and stuff like that. That's what my job is most of the time. Our pathway generally tends to lead to producing further down. A lot of that's what a lot of people in my business go to or get into, which I'm still trying to do as well. But it's an exhausting job. It's not easy.
Yeah.
And look, depending on the show that you're on, some shows you might be mostly at the studio, but a lot of the jobs you are going to be on location, which means you're all over the city. Georgia's massively busy with filming right now. I think there's 41 or 42 different shows or movies being produced in the state of Georgia at any time. And that's like the significant ones, not counting all the little indies.
Yeah.
It's a hard job. I walk. One of the great things about it is it keeps my legs in shape because I average 12 to 15 miles walked a day when doing it. It can be, depending on the show, it can be, I'm trying to think of a way that
daunting.
Daunting. Sure. Yeah. Let's go with daunting.
That's cool. Now, one of the movies I did see on your thing, Midwestern Meth Fairy Tale.
Yes.
Now, was that one of your ones you written or whatever? Now, me personally, I've never done meth or anything like that in my life, but I've ridden shotgun with people who were driving, while they're on meth and stuff. You know what I mean? So that stuff is kind of crazy.
No, that actually, I after I wrote The Talk, which is I think you can see it on my YouTube channel. It was a little award-winning short film. A locations friend of mine actually reached out to me. Was like, "Hey, man, I'm thinking of directing this movie. These 2 writers came to me with this cool script. We're going to do this little portion as kind of as a teaser to try to see if we can't raise some money to actually make a film. I saw how good your film came out. Would you help me produce this?" So that's what he brought me on as. I came on as a UPM, which is a unit production manager, which basically I'm the guy who signs the checks. Me and the producers both signed the check, and so in other words, I was the person who was like, "No, maybe we don't need that," or "Yeah, we got to get this for that thing, but can we get it a little bit cheaper?" That's kind of was my job. Yeah, and it was a really good film, and I'm fingers crossed. Sean and I are about to. In January, I'll be producing another one, but this time it'll actually be a feature. It's not gonna be some million dollar budget, but it'll be something, and we'll see. And it should be good. It's a good story.
Awesome. Hey man, I hope y'all get to make it and y'all kick butt, man. Look, if you ever need an extra, man, hey, I'm always available. You ain't even really got to pay me much, man. Hot dog and a handshake, man. I work
$64 over 8 hours. That's what you get.
Hey man, hey, that works for me. You know what I mean? A meatball sub would work for me.
Gotcha.
Meatball sub would work for me, or some tacos. I'm good, man. So yeah, just keep me in mind, man. Just keep me in mind. I'm always willing, man. I don't mind driving. I'm like Kane in Kung Fu. I just roam the earth. Man. So do you and the other Aaron, Aaron, as we were calling him the other day, do y'all have a tag team name? together yet, man. Maybe called Bone Breakers or something, you know.
We actually called ourselves the County Line when we first
County Line
started, because we literally lived a county apart from each other.
That's cool.
We didn't really have a name. It's one of those things. It's not going to be a regular tag thing I do with him. I'm usually going to be on my own.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind tagging with him again at all. He's an amazing partner, and anybody would be lucky. But I think he might be looking at already tagging with somebody else right now. And I'm wishing him the best of luck, because he's a good dude. Mm-hmm. Young kid,
Beast.
So weird to be, partnered with a guy who basically I'm old enough to be his dad.
Yeah.
And it's really weird. But by the same token, he's an amazing talent, and he's got a really bright future ahead of him.
Oh yeah, because we were talking the other day when I was watching some of his workouts. Man, he was doing curls with like 110s. You know what I mean? I'm like, are you for real? I told him, man.
There were 3 people in our class who were just like, when they came in, were already in amazing shape. And Ian, the actual weights trainer, an amazing dude. That's one of the things about the Nightmare. I'm going to go off on a little tangent real quick.
Oh, you're good.
The good thing about the Nightmare family is, in their Nightmare Factory, is that it's not just going to wrestling training. It's, you get a nutritionist who actually takes all of your factors into account. If you're wanting to gain, if you're wanting to lose weight, if you're wanting to put on mass, you get access to a world-class gym and training by dudes who train people for the NFL Combine. Really good players, not just, some Jim Billy Bob who was lucky to even get an invite. Really top class Jalen Hurts type people. So you got an amazing physical regimen. And in that regimen, Dallas was just a ridiculous beast to begin with. Like him, Austin, I'm trying to think of Wolf was in amazing shape when they came. Marcus Erics was in good shape, but even got even really much better shape. But yeah, Dallas was like that guy who Ian was always just kind of poking him, just go, oh, come on, you can put on one more plate. And I'm just like, all right, fuck you. Sorry.
No, you're good.
He's like, all right, I'm gonna. And he did. And he made all of us go, oh, wow, regularly. So.
Oh, man, that's great. Yeah, because I was going to ask you about the diet plan, your world class, training nutritionist and all the, strength coach and all that. Yeah, but yeah. I don't even have to ask about that, man. That's pretty cool. But I do want to ask, man, did you get, when you were wrestling the Diamond Sheik and stuff, man, did you get to take any of that money from the ring, or did you get to get his gas card? Because when he was on the show the other day, man, he was bragging about having a gas card because where he's from. And I'm like, oh man, gas prices out this world, man.
Trust me, they cut a little bit. They cut some there at the end. You did get to see me walking away, but needless to say, I haven't had to pay for my own gas in the last 3 months.
Oh, that's good.
All I'm gonna say.
That's good, man. Hey, good job on that. Now, did you get to do any extra work for him? For any of the pay-per-views or anything, like with that Sting Darby Allin match? You had a bunch of guys with the Sting mask.
No, I think some of the guys from the factory did. Were some of the guys in the mask, but that wasn't something at the time when I was going through training. I was also working full time in a restaurant, so I just didn't have the time to take off. Even though it filmed a lot of it up for near where I'm from, it would have been kind of nice, but no, not a lot.
That's cool. Now, when you're out scouting locations and stuff, you're always probably out in nature and all kinds of stuff, right? Are you always out there?
Dude. I'm city and
everywhere.
country. Yeah.
Man, look, now down in Georgia, man, have you ever come across the skunk ape? Because, man, the other day I'm sitting here, I'm listening to what was Travel Channel or something, man. They're all talking about, man, skunk apes out there in Georgia, man. Like Bigfoot out there in Oregon, man. Because I'm like, what in the world's a skunk ape?
I gotta be honest with you. I am from Georgia, and this is not something that I am familiar with. Okay. I'm from country Georgia. Yeah. So I really could not tell you. That's a new one on me.
Okay, so
I wish I had.
It's basically a Bigfoot. It's basically a Bigfoot, but just stinks.
I can tell you that I've been inside some hospitals and some abandoned prisons that have made me very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I was working on the quad for BET, and I'll never forget there used to be an abandoned jail in Douglasville, and which is a town close to where I live now. And I was going through during the wrap out. So basically, the electricians are moving their cables and the set decorators are moving all their furniture and stuff. And it was kind of quiet. And I was walking through the jail, just looking, and all of a sudden, boom, a giant freaking hawk comes flying, just like out of inside the jail. Scared him, just came flying right by my face, freaked me the F out, He flew into a room. I closed it, yelled for the site rep, and was like, "Hey, whoa, no, I'm leaving. I'm done. I just about got killed by a hawk."
That's right. Oh man, yeah, I don't know if I could have gone up near it, man. Well, if it was daylight and there was people with me, I probably could, man, because I've been to Fort Delaware in the daylight, and I did a haunted tour where there was people there. But man, that place is creepy. Like, yeah, they had it on. I think it was Ghost Hunters or whatever, and that's one of the few times you're like, yo, this place, yeah, they got some things going on up in there, man.
Yeah,
man,
I don't do well with scary stuff, and I can tell you
either.
one of the things with locations is sometimes you got to, I worked on the Conjuring 3. And a lot of it was filmed at an abandoned hospital. And then I can tell you right now, walking in there, 3:00 in the morning with all the lights out into an abandoned hospital, freaking creepy. And you just got to deal with it. Not something that's fun though.
Yeah, man. You know what? I'm watching that tonight, man. I was needing something tonight, man. I'm watching The Conjuring 3, man.
I don't think it's out yet. It's
is
so
it out
weird.
yet?
Okay. I don't think it comes out to like October. It was supposed to come out last year.
Okay, okay, I got you. Yeah, it was the preview. I'm thinking of the last one that was out. Okay. Yeah, because I know there's one coming out. I know they have one coming out. Okay, I'm thinking of the last one that was out. All right, my bad. But when it comes out, I'm definitely going to go see it. I'm definitely going to go see it because, man,
I can tell you that the real life version of those places were creepy before they put stuff in the sets.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, because that stuff, that whole stuff, I love that series, The Conjuring, all that stuff. Oh, Annabelle, you know what I mean, all that stuff, man. Yeah,
that is not for me.
Yeah, because my sister, she's always like, hey, I want to go take a trip up there in where is it, Massachusetts or somewhere where that Robert the Doll is. And I'm like, no, man, I'm not trying to do that, man. People,
I'm good.
That's the whole basis of the one movie, you know what I mean? Somebody messing with that doll or something, man. No. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, Conjuring, the next Conjuring. Okay, yeah, I'm definitely going to see it. Yeah, because I've seen the previews of it. I'm like, oh man, that looks pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, oh man, yeah. My bad. I'm thinking of the old Conjuring. You know what I mean? Oh, all right. But man, so after you're filming, your 9 to 5, you don't have a next match scheduled or planned yet? No dates yet.
I've got it. Like I said, I haven't had the chance to really focus on trying to find a place to land. I reached out and I got some good ideas about some places that I'm going to be able to go, and hopefully, within the coming weeks, you'll see this mug either kicking somebody in the face or getting kicked in the face, one or the other.
That's right. That's right.
And I'm looking forward to it.
That's right. Now, before I, passing on back to Remy and all, I gotta ask, man, do you have any funny, backstage road stories you could share? You know what I mean? Like this happened in your wrestling career or even movie career, man. You could change the names to protect the innocent.
I can tell you more movie because, back in the day, it was just so I very much showed up, wrestled, went home. I wasn't really a people person. So that probably has something to do with why I didn't get booked more. I didn't, so I don't really have a lot of wrestling thing. I can tell you about the time I nearly set Tom Cruise on fire.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Tell us about that.
I was working on the Mina reshoots. I think it got renamed to a movie called American Made. Okay. It was all about
his drug smuggling one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I seen that. Good
so I was working on some reshoots, and it was kind of cold, and we're at this crappy hotel in Atlanta, or motel, really. So the last day of shooting, everybody's tired. It's been rather easy but long 3 days of reshoots, and a couple of weeks before that prepping for it. The producers, Doug Lyman, and a couple of the other executive producers are kind of standing in a little huddle, and this is, I think, I want to say it's late February, so it's rather cold in Georgia at that point. It's probably, or at least for us, it's cold. It's in the mid 30s to low 40s roughly. So we've got these dolly heaters, which you can buy them at Home Depot. Essentially, there's Mr. Heaters that you just then strap to a dolly with the propane tank, and boom, portable heater. Great for outside sets because it gets a big area. So there's this heater, and that group kind of starts breaking up, and I'm just ready to wrap. I'm ready to go home. So I turn the heater off, thinking as they're kind of walking away. And then Tom comes out of the hotel room, and they kind of recongregate. And I'm like, oh, crap. Well, I better go turn this back on. And I didn't see Tom go back into the hotel room to go get his puffy jacket. So I leaned down, I turned the gas back on, hit the clicker, and right as I hit the clicker, Tom walks right in front of the heater. Poof, a thing of flame comes out of the heater. And when I say, like, this close to setting his jacket and his hair on fire, and he had no freaking clue that it happened at all. Like, I'm surprised he didn't smell at least one singed hair. And I remember, like, just that moment seemed to last for infinity. I feel like I'm still feeling it to this moment because in your head, I just set the biggest star in the world on fire.
Oh,
there goes my career.
Oh,
and
man.
then it just kind of, just like that, the gas kind of rolls past, and and he turns around and goes, "Thanks, man." And you're like, not because I'm scared of that's Tom Cruise, but because I nearly killed you.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's what I got.
That's right. Oh man, see, yeah, that's definitely one of them butthole tighteners right there, man. Like,
oh
man, listening to that, I'm like, oh man, you almost burned him up. Woo! I know about them heaters, man. Oh,
yeah.
Dang. Oh man, but yeah, that. Oh man, that's a great story, man. Yeah, but yeah. Before I pass it on back to Remy, I want to say, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, coming on, chatting with us, man. It was awesome. Get to talk wrestling, little movie stuff here, Shawn Michaels stuff, all that good stuff, man. It was a blast to have you on, and I wish you nothing but the positive things in your wrestling career, your movie career, all for your family and all that good stuff, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. Oh, Remy, yeah.
Microphone.
You're muted.
Aaron, it was an honor and pleasure to have you on our show, really and truly. On behalf of myself, Rob Bass, and our other co-host, Kathy, who couldn't make it today or tonight, thank you very much for actually taking time out of your busy schedule. We know you got a lot of things on your plate. No problem. We know you got your family, and you got your wrestling career, your writing, and your directing career as well to plan for. We really truly do appreciate you doing this for us. Before we close the show, where can fans find you on social media if they want to find out when your next appearance is, purchase merchandise, and where can bookers and promoters book the family man and see that power of the family on their shows? Where can they find you on social media?
Most importantly, booking me is pretty easy. Aaron Kirk bookings at gmail.com. As far as finding me on social media, again, I'm terrible at social media. I've been on Twitter for like 13 years, and I've got not that many tweets. I mean, probably like 13,000, but over the course of a year, that really doesn't seem like much, of most of those were retweets. But that's probably where I'm mostly on at. And it's at Unforspider, which is at UN, the number 4, SPYDER. You can find me on Facebook, Aaron Kirk. You can find me on Instagram, Aaron Kirk, professional wrestler. And Reddit, maybe. I don't know. I commented on some the Squared Circle stuff when we were getting ready to show the showcase. I don't know. I'm bad at Reddit. I scroll through it, and that's about it. Rarely commenting. It took me a while. I'm very stupid, so it took me a while to understand how the format works. But yeah, I'm trying to think. I think that's
It's okay. We just got on Twitch, and I'm still trying to figure out how certain things are.
Sorry,
so I'm like,
I have I do a BCW wrestling thing on Twitch once a week.
Oh,
where I've got all creative wrestlers. So I do that as well. So yeah, I think I'm unfortunate on that as well.
Yeah, we just started getting on that, and I'm pretty far into it, but I know Rob and Kathy, they've been on it for a bit. So I'm like, okay, y'all deal with that. y'all tell me what to do because
Cool.
I don't know what to do myself, you know. So
I've
But,
enjoyed it. I
um,
did not, the pandemic, I started streaming, and I was very surprised that I enjoyed it as much as I did. So it literally became something I do it like once a week, and you know, 2 people watch. I'm not expecting to get anything, but it's still cool. I enjoy it, and yeah, I'm glad you guys are doing it.
yeah, we don't do this for monetary value. We just do it because it's our passion and we love it. If we get any money out of it, well, by all means, well, we'll welcome it. But really and truly, we
Got
just
it.
do it
Sorry.
because, you know, we have a passion for wrestling and so on. You know, so that's just our thing. But yeah, on behalf of all of us here at Ringside Side, we definitely wish you all the best in your wrestling career. We hope this second round, you know, is more exciting and you get to see more places and so on. And, you know, you get to go from coast to coast, north of the border, south of the border. Heck, hopefully you get to go to Japan. And if you get to go to Japan, if you haven't been before, I highly recommend it. It is phenomenal. It is all that they say it is. So, yeah. But
I'm gonna
being said,
just gonna keep busting my butt and do everything I can to make somebody want to book me. That's all I can do.
yeah, like I think it was The Rock that said it. Perseverance gets you there. Consistency keeps you there. So,
Yep.
if you got those 2 with you, you'll definitely get to where you want to be.
Absolutely.
So, with that being said, it is time for us to actually close the show. But don't for those of y'all listening, do not go anywhere. Do not go anywhere far because we have our 15 minutes of fandom segment after this. But with that being said, Rob, where can fans find you on social media if they want to be on our show, shoot the breeze about wrestling? Where can bookers, promoters, wrestlers, and all other folk on that side of the spectrum of professional wrestling find you on social media as well?
If you want, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, Rob_Base82. You know, YouTube, and Facebook, Rob Base.
Awesome. And if you want to find me on social media, not that I have anything interesting to say these days, but who knows? Maybe you'll catch me and you'll hear something cool from me. You can find me on Twitter at @TheRemyGlue. You can find me on Facebook, Remy Blue. There's a picture of me at WrestleMania 28 in my WrestleMania 28 shirt with my good friend Adam. Our podcast is on Instagram at Ringside Society. Our podcast is also on Twitter at Ringside Society. And also our podcast we also have a Facebook group for our podcast. Yes, which is actually where this episode is being streamed right now. So definitely join our Facebook group. We're on Twitch. It's Ringside Society 2019. So follow us there as well too. And we also have a Teespring store where we have a couple of cool designs. So definitely go ahead, and support us. Cop our merch. Every single cent we get from those sales goes back into keeping this show afloat. So go ahead and support us. We don't do this for clout. We don't do this to clout chase. We do it because this is our genuine love and passion for the world of professional wrestling. So with that being said, we just want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight to listen to us. We really and truly do appreciate it. We can't thank you enough, but thank you. To those of you that listen later on, thank you in advance. And to those of you that hate us, can't stand us, really and truly wish Ringside Society would go away and take their merch with them. Well, we're sorry, but like myself in Golden Corral on a Saturday night, we're not going anywhere for a while.
They hate us because they ain't us.
And we ain't stopping. So with that being said, we just want to let everybody here know that we here at Ringside Society are very well aware that everybody and their grandparents and their parents have a podcast. But we're not your grandparents' podcast. We're not your parents' podcast. As a matter of fact, we're not just any podcast. # we are not the same. I think I'll make a shirt out of that. But yo, Rob Base, one time for the mind, one time for the people, one time for the wrestling culture, one time for the great folks at the Nightmare Factory who are rapidly becoming one of the most prestigious wrestling schools in the good old US of A. And one time for the family man, Aaron Kirk, because let's be honest, the power of family prevails over everything. Sorry, Diamond Sheik. Don't beat me up, Austin Green. What type of podcast are we?
We're the Wrestling Fans Podcast.
That's right. We're the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. And with that being said, we'll be back in a couple of minutes with our 50 Minutes of Fandom segment with our special guest, Ella J. She is a huge supporter of women's professional wrestling. She actually interviews women all over the world, so you will not want to miss that. But until then, during this pandemic, yes, we're still going through a pandemic. Be excellent to each other. Stay safe, stay healthy, and party on, dudes. We out. Peace.
See y'all. Good night. Stay classy, Delaware.